Kia ora everyone, Jem here, welcome back to my creative space. I've got a really quick little upcycling project for you today. I'm going to show you how to make a really simple journal. All we're going to use is old greetings cards, a scrap of material and an old envelope. And we're going to create a beautiful journal ready for you to start decorating and working in and doing whatever your creative brain wants to do. Okay everyone, so I've been inspired to do this project because I've recently acquired this big stash of greetings cards, and as you will see, some of them are not in terribly good condition. So they're probably not ones that I would want to use as greetings cards, you know, to give to people. And also I prefer to make my own, obviously. So you can see some of them are a bit aged, mottled. But I don't want to throw these out. I love upcycling things. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pull out a few of these. Now I'm thinking I might choose ones that are all the same size. I have quite a number that are this, oh, I don't know what you would call that. It's like what I would say is a business envelope size, and I'm sure that there's a correct name for that, but they're about 18.5 centimeters by just over 10. Let's try that in inches. Okay, 4 inches by about 4 by 7.25. Anyway, that gives you a rough idea. So I'm going to pull out some of those, and we're going to use these as the pages of our journal, and then we're going to use the envelope as a journal cover, but we're going to cover it in some lovely fabric. And again, you can see that this envelope has obviously been around the block a bit and is really looking a bit scungy. So we're going to cover that, make it look beautiful. Right, okay, so I've pulled out a selection of, I think there's a dozen of these cards here. As I say, they're all the same size. Now I've chosen to pull out ones which all have a floral theme. Some of these pictures I find really quite attractive, and I might decide to leave in the journal as they are or embellish in some ways. Others I may decide to cover up completely. At this stage that doesn't matter, but for the purpose of this journal I've picked out 12 which all have a floral theme. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put them together, and I think I'm going to go for 3 signatures with 4 cards in each. Now as you can see, I just did there, I flipped that one the other way round, and the reason I'm doing that is just so that I don't get all the pictures on the same side if I choose to leave some of them. So I'm just going to put these together quite randomly in stacks of 4. Use my bone folder, give that a quick. So those of you who have watched any of my videos recently will know that an elderly aunt passed away in our family recently, and Mr. Jem and I were involved in helping clear the house where she lived, and she was a very talented lady, and over her lifetime did the most amazing quilts and crafts and all sorts of things. But what that meant was when we were clearing out, her craft room was still absolutely full, absolutely chocker of all wonderful things. And I've been very fortunate enough to inherit some of those. But there was also a lot of things like these cards which anyone else would throw away. But of course, for those of us with a passion for junk journaling, it was, you know, very much Christmas come early. But I do want to honour her name and do something with some of these treasures that we brought home. And I'm just fiddling as I talk here because I would like a picture on the first page which I like and I want to keep, and I would like to tone with the fabric that I'm going to use inside the journal cover. So that's why I'm just fiddling with those. All right, so I have 3 signatures there, 4 cards in each, which gives me 8 pages in each signature. 3 8s, 24. All right, so there we go. Set those aside for a moment. And let's have a look at this cover. Right, as I say, really scungy envelope, wouldn't be used for much else, but is still nice and thick. It's got quite a big fold in the middle there. So I'm just going to grab one of those stacks of signatures. I'm going to place it just there. And I'll find a ruler. Oh, do you know what? I'm a little bit disorganised today. Right. I'm going to give that a centimetre or 2. So that's my cutting line. And about the same at the top. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. Now, the fold is already there, so I might as well use that. I'm just debating. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make the most of that. We're going to do a fold round cover. Oh, don't you love it when ideas happen as you're doing things? There we go. I am just going to trim off. Ooh. So I was going to trim off that side, but I want that to fold that way. It's all right. I'm thinking on my feet here, folks. This is creativity live. Yeah. I was going to trim this off down here and just make a very simple journal cover. But as we've got this, I think we'll make a flip over one like that, and we'll put a nice little clasp or something on there. So I'm actually going to take that off just, I'm going to have to do it like this, just above there. Oh, sorry, that's a nasty squeak, wasn't it? Let's test that, see if that's enough. Oh, I think we'll take just a little bit more. All right, let's get that out of the way. That extra bit off. Yay. And what I'm actually going to do is, I think, well, my plan is maybe to leave a pocket at the top, but we'll see. I might not if I'm doing a flop over. We will see. Trust the process. Trust the process. Right. So that's going to be a cover. What I'm going to do now is to cover it with fabric. So it's going to go that way up. Now I've got this lovely vintage fabric. I don't know where this came from. It's in my stash. Now I want to put this around the right way. So this is going to be the front. and this is the flap. Because I like this really lovely piece here, and I would quite like that to be on the front. Yeah, I think that will work. Okay, so I'm going to cut this just slightly larger. The envelope is quite thick. I'm just going to put a couple of pins in to hold it still while I cut. You don't have to do this. Right. I don't know whether you're able to see on the video, but this leaf here has actually got a really pretty gold colour on it. I have a bit of a passion for these vintage fabrics. This feels like it might have been curtaining or even maybe a tablecloth in a previous life. Okay, so that is going to be the outside cover, and what I also have is this beautiful, this is more of a cotton, again you'll see I've used this for something, I don't quite know what, but I would like this to be the inside cover. So again, now this is a smaller pattern which doesn't need quite so much positioning. So I'm actually just going to do the same thing. All the way around. There we go. Right. So now, get the pins out. And what I'm going to do is to find my PVA glue and a glue brush, and we'll get that cover sorted. Okay, everyone. So I've popped a sheet of plastic down just to protect my work surface, and this is just PVA glue. I buy this in a big bulk container, so I find it easier to decant into a smaller pot when I'm using it. And I'm literally just going to cover the whole thing. What I'm going to do now is just pick that up, and before I turn it over, I'm actually just going to give them a bit of plastic wipe, because I can see that there's some glue on there, and I want to just wipe that off before I turn my fabric over, because I don't want glue on this bit. Okay, so we're going to turn it over. You can still see just about, there's our flap, there's our journal. Alright, so this is the top. It's the top, T for top. Double check that's right, yes. fabric's going the right way. Okay. And the reason I do that is that I just check. I don't know whether this piece of fabric has a direction particularly. If it did, I would want to make sure that they were both going the same way. Oh, what do you think? I don't know, this one looks... I don't think it really matters. For me, it's going to go that way up. Right. So exactly the same process. Okay, so let's check. There's our fold in. There's our fold over. All good. Now, I am going to leave this to dry. When this is dry, we'll come back, show you the next stage, and we'll pop those signatures in. Okay folks, so our journal cover's dried off nicely. And what I've done is I've cut around it just to get rid of excess material, and I've left, it's probably just less than ½ centimetre bigger than the envelope all the way round. There we go, and so that's our cover folded. And what I'm going to do now is to get my sewing machine and stitch all the way around the edge. Now at the same time, I've found this ribbon which I'm hoping to use as a closure, and I'm thinking that I might attach this at the same time with the sewing machine. But I'll go around the edges first and then we'll come back. Okay folks, so there we go. I've cut around, I've stitched, sorry, around the edge, and I've gone like a double row of stitching. I've deliberately not kept it very neat. I wanted it to look more sort of freestyle. I've also run a line of stitching down each of the folds, and I've attached this piece of ribbon so that when we close it up, this can be tied and it forms just an easy closure. There we go. All right, now the other thing I'm going to do, I have this little tool. Now it took me a long time to figure out what this was. It came in a random bunch of stuff I bought from an op shop, and I think that what it is a tool for making the edges of paper rough like that. Can you see? That's roughing up that edge and giving it sort of a torn look. But it also works, I've discovered, if you use it on fabric. And can you see that's all just fraying that edge out quite nicely. So I'm going to work my way round just to give this a little bit of a tatty look, I don't know, grungy look, vintage look, you choose, you choose. Okay folks, here we go. So we're now ready to put our signatures in. So what I'm going to do is to I'm just going to do a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Put a little bit of graph paper here. Oh, top off nice and straight. So I'm cutting that. So I've cut that to the same length as my journal. Side. So. Okay, this is old graph paper and it's in 1/4 inch squares, so I'm going to have one signature here, and I'm going to actually, I think, keep them quite tight together. I think if I come out 1/2 inch that's going to be too much, so I'm going to keep them quite close together there. And I'm just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so I'm going to find the middle, which is there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that one, and that one. Okay, that's where my holes are going to be. I'm actually just going to clip that because I want that to stay in the right place whilst I make the holes. Oh. Okay. Okay, I just need to remember that I've put that ribbon on there already, which may have been better done afterwards, but never mind, we'll work with it. And and typically that middle set of holes is just where the ribbon is, of course. I was thinking I'd be clever and do everything that I needed to do with the sewing machine whilst it was out. This is the problem when the plan changes. Alright, those holes are in the cover. I'm going to fold this in half. That's the middle. Of my signature. Now, the cover is a bit long, is a bit taller than my cards, so I need to make sure that this is in the middle. And when you're using graph paper like this, you can see here there's 2 squares above the card and 2 squares below, so I know that if I do that on all of them, the holes are going to line up and the signatures are going to sit in the same place. So using the same template and making sure that there's 2 squares above, 2 squares below. Right, so that's the last signature done. I've got an off-white linen thread here, which I thought would match the background of the, I'm just looking to see where that hole is, match the background of the journal cover. I don't have orange, unfortunately. Okay, where was my front one? That's the only one that really matters, because I quite like that picture to match in. I quite like this, and I probably will leave that as the first page in the journal. Alright, so I'm going to do very simple normal pamphlet stitch. This is the first one, so I am working in my left hand row of holes, and that middle one is going to have to go through that ribbon. So let's just negotiate that. Is that the left hand hole? Let's just check. It's there, that's it. When you're using fabric, it's sometimes a little bit tricky to see where your holes are. There we go. Once you've done the first signature, it's sometimes easier, because at least you've got a line of sight to go by then. Right down there. Okay, I actually think that I might have missed that last hole. If I did, it didn't go right the way through. That's all right, we've done that. Oh goodness, I'm making a meal of this today. Right. There we go, nice and tight. Okay, there's our first one. I'm going to carry on and do the next two, and I'll come back and show you. Oh my goodness, guys, I am so glad I did not make you sit through that with me. You know, some days there's something that you know that you normally do in your sleep, and yet you have those days when it just seems to be the hardest thing in the world. That was me with signatures today. Anyway, we've got them in there. What I've also done, because there's the 3, and it was a little bit wider than I'd been planning originally, I've just manipulated the cover a little bit, because we started off with just a fold, and so what I've done is manipulated the cover a little bit, just like this. I've really just added a couple more folds in. And because it's just an envelope covered with fabric, it's lovely and soft. And what you'll see now is that that's given us almost like a little curved spine there. And because it is soft, we can do the same this side, just to give us a little bit more room if we want to. And again, and it just softens it all down a bit as well, which I really, really like. Okay, so there we are, guys. That's our journal for today. We've got these beautiful pictures in here, and we can choose to leave these. As I start working in the journal, I might leave some of these, I might alter some of them, or I might cover them up completely. The choice is yours when you start working in your journal, but this is a great way to use up greetings cards, and it's free. All this is stuff that I've had, and is being upcycled and reused and given a new life. Now, I want to tell you this because I noticed it as I was stitching these in. These are, I think, notelets or greetings cards, as I say, that were in our auntie's stash. But I have to say, I've just noticed the artwork on these cards. It says, from an original painted with the mouth by J. Rodder, published for the Association of Mouth and Foot Painting Artists. And all of these are painted with people either using their mouth or feet. So with that in mind, I'm just going to flick back through these, and let's just appreciate these artists who are incredibly talented. Look at these. I don't think I could paint like this with the full use of my hands. So to know that these have either been painted by someone using a brush in their mouth or a brush held in their feet, that's just amazing, isn't it? And there's a range of different artists. This one is H. Koshinsky, Russ Wolf, C. Pash, whole range of artists. This one's done, some of them are done by the feet. I mean, look at those. Isn't that amazing when you think about it from that perspective? So there you are. A bit of inspiration for you for today. And, you know, some consideration to how lucky we are. All right, so there's the journal. Simple closure. All upcycled bits and pieces that are around. And we've got a journal ready to go. So I hope this has been useful for you guys. Please feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you think. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. But for now, ka kite anō. Thank you for watching.